Welcome, everyone. It's so lovely to see so many familiar faces and names. For those of you who are new to any workshops I've facilitated, welcome. And I hope this is beneficial for everyone. And again, bear with me while I share my screen. All right, and once I share my screen, I can only see a couple of people. As we move forward, if you have questions or concerns, I also will have a hard time seeing the chat feature with my screen share. So when I ask for comments or questions, you're going to have to probably unmute for me to recognize that you're there. Emily, are you able to give me a thumbs up that you can see my screen? Perfect. Thank you. Again, welcome everyone. My name is Kim Kreider. I am a health educator and community health coordinator with WellSpan. I'm also a certified registered yoga teacher, and I'm very passionate about all things to do with the breath and how it is a tool that we can use for so many things. And again, bear with me, always some technical difficulties. I'm not sure why I'm stuck. There we go. So diving right in, I want to start recognizing that everyone is in a place today. It may be at work, you may be at home, you may be in a noisy environment, you may be in a quiet environment. So before we do anything, I do want to just take a moment to take 3 breaths to just sort of center and ground us so we have the ability to feel a little relaxed before we move into the presentation. So let's take a nice big inhale through the nose. And then sigh it out through the nose. And one more nice big inhale through the nose. And exhale through the nose. And last one, nice big inhale in through the nose. And nice long exhale. Feel the shoulders relax, feel the muscles in the face soften, unclench the jaw if you've got a little bit of a grip there. And then we'll go ahead and get started. So we don't think about our breath very often. It happens automatically. We don't have to do anything. We'll notice when our nose is stuffed up or when we have allergies, things like that. But typically we don't pay a lot of attention to the breath. We breathe automatically roughly 25,000 times a day. And again, have very little thought about how we're breathing. What we're going to focus on today is very intentional breathing. We breathe automatically. Today, we're going to be working on breathing intentionally. And I will incorporate 4 different types of breath techniques. Please be aware, there are hundreds of them. I have chosen 4 that are the most widely used. And to make things easy, you should have gotten with the email that had the Zoom link, a handout that has all the steps already written down for you. So today you can just focus on practicing and maybe taking notes on what you liked or what you didn't like, those sorts of things. But you don't have to worry about writing down the steps because I've done that already for you. If you didn't get that, you can put your email in the chat and I'll make sure that you get it after the presentation is over. As I said earlier, our breath, our breathing is a mental health tool that is available to all of us, and it's free. And it's just a matter of figuring out different breathing techniques that work well for you for whatever your goal happens to be. Today, I'll be mostly focusing on things to reduce stress, to induce a sense of calm, to reduce anxiety, increase focus, those sorts of things. So if those are goals for you, great. If not, I encourage you to look into other breathing techniques that might help health goals that you have. So I'm going to stop share for just a moment and head over, because I want to make sure we all are on the same page when it comes to our breath. So bear with me here. Whoops, sorry. The technology part is the hardest part. So just a short clip of how are the mechanics of our breathing.
Mechanics of breathing. Consciously take a breath and think about the fact that there are 10 different muscle groups working together to make this happen. These muscle groups include the diaphragm and intercostal muscles. The main muscle used for breathing is the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a dome-shaped structure consisting of several large muscles, which is sandwiched between the chest cavity, containing the lungs and the rib cage, and the abdomen, containing the digestive system, including your stomach. The muscles that move the rib cage itself are the internal and external intercostal muscles. They are each attached to the ribs and run between them. To inhale air, the diaphragm contracts and moves down, while the external intercostal muscles contract, forcing the rib cage up and out. The combined effect of the diaphragm and intercostal muscles increases the volume of the chest cavity and expands the lungs. This expansion of the lungs increases their volume, reducing the pressure within them, causing air to be drawn in. This action is similar to a piston sucking petrol into a car engine. In normal breathing, we use around 25% of our lung capacity, which is called our tidal volume. As you inhale deeply, the diaphragm moves further down into the abdomen, pushing your belly out, giving more room for the lungs to expand and draw in more air. This type of breathing is called belly breathing or abdominal breathing, and is critical to prepare you for your free dive. Belly breathing allows you to completely fill your lungs with air. The maximum amount of air your lungs can hold is called your total lung capacity. With training, you can use more of your lung capacity.
Reshare where I was just a moment ago. And hopefully we're back in business here. All right, so I wanted to make sure that we all had an idea of the mechanics of our breathing, because we're going to work a lot on the belly and the ribs and the chest today. So recognizing how that all plays together, it can be helpful in knowing what's happening when we're breathing. And moving into breathing through the nose. Again, it's not something we think about very often unless our nose is stopped up due to a cold or allergies, that sort of thing. Some of us are chronic mouth breathers. Some of us, it's a combination of nose and mouth. Maybe at night we breathe through our mouth a lot. The importance of breathing through your nose, we take in roughly 20% more oxygen when we breathe through our nose. It also helps clean the air as we breathe in through the nose. It heats the air, so it's a little easier for our lungs to absorb. And it also moistens the air we breathe in. Again, this makes it much easier for our lungs to make sure we're getting the maximum amount of oxygen into our cells is eventually where it's going. So it overall makes it more easy for the lungs to absorb when we breathe through the nose. So when we are thinking about practicing breath work, when you first start, you may find it easier to find a quiet place, if that's possible, and it may not be. A comfortable position, we'll talk about that here in just a second. Have an open attitude. It may work well for you that time, but not another time. You may have a lot of thoughts as you're trying to do a breath practice. That's normal. And let these things happen without attaching any judgment or create any commentary about why or why not something's happening. Just be curious about the breath process itself. Deep paced breathing, and that's what we're going to practice today. And the purpose is to slow our breath down. We tend to be shallow breathers, and we take a lot of breaths in any given minute. So we're going to slow that process down and breathe less, but more deeply. So we'll start by just observing our own breath. And as we move through today, I'm going to encourage you, no matter where you are, to find a comfortable seat, preferably where you're able to sit up tall. And by no means do I mean rigid. You want to just sit up tall enough that the action that we watched a moment ago, the lungs or the rib cage expanding and the diaphragm moving up and down, that we have created the space to allow that to happen. So sitting up nice and tall, but in a relaxed manner. Feet on the floor. If you're at home and you prefer to lie on your back, you're welcome to do that as well. You can bend your knees, take your feet out a little bit wide, and then let the knees come to touch in the center. Will help take some pressure off the low back if you decide to lay on the floor. So wherever you are, I invite you to close the eyes. You can take a soft gaze. You're also welcome to turn your camera off if it's on now and you want some privacy. That's absolutely fine. And I just want you to start noticing your breath. We're not changing anything. Just notice your own breath and get curious about what is there. So are you naturally breathing shallowly, deeply? Maybe you notice that the inhale is long, or maybe the exhale is long. And the exhale are both very short, but deep. Is your breathing labored or is it at ease? So notice what's there. Notice any sensations that arise. Continue to be curious about what's there without attaching any judgment or emotion or creating any commentary. We're just curious detectives about our own breath. Maybe you've already noticed you've switched to breathing through the mouth, inhaling or exhaling. As you continue to breathe, some additional benefits of breathing through the nose can trigger a variety of hormones and chemicals that lower blood pressure and ease digestion. Can also help us regulate our heart rate. We might actually feel that later on in our practice. So again, I'm going to invite you to just release the attention and the observation on your breath. Maybe you jot a note or two down about how you're feeling, particularly before we start to actually practice. Maybe you're already feeling a sense of calm by just turning inward and focusing on the breath. So our first breath practice is called 3-part breath, or you may often hear of it as yogic breathing, either one. If you decide you want to look into this, one of those two would be the best thing to Google. So the 3-part breath is a very standard breathing practice, particularly for yoga teachers like myself. And research finds that when you practice 3-part breathing regularly, because intentional breathing is a practice, once you do it regularly, the benefits will come more quickly as you get used to the techniques themselves. So 3-part breath in particularly may help increase oxygen supply to our cells, increase lung capacity, and bring an overall sense of calmness and peace, as many of the breathing techniques do. So this particular breath practice is going to be done in phases. So again, finding your comfortable seat. Maybe you need to readjust. Take a moment, find that comfortable seat. We're sitting upright, or if we're lying on the floor, you've gotten yourself into a comfortable position. We just want to make sure, again, that the spine is nice and long, and that is going to allow our lungs to expand and contract, the diaphragm to expand and contract, all of those things. We've got the space to do that. So you can place one hand or the other over the navel. You can place both hands, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And I want you to focus on inhaling and blowing the belly up like a balloon, just the belly. Taking a nice big breath in. And feel the belly push that hand out. And then on your exhale, you'll feel the belly button pull back, the hand will lower or move back toward the spine. So let's try that again. Let's take a nice big inhale. Fill that belly up with air, feel it blow up like a balloon, and then exhale through the nose. And you may even gently and actively pull the belly button back. Use your muscles to pull that back, not in any forceful way, but just in a very gentle, easy way. Pull that belly button back toward the spine. Let's do that again. Let's take a nice big inhale through the nose. Belly fills up with air. You feel the hand push away, and then release. Exhale. Belly button pulls back. We'll do 2 more like that. Breathing in. Belly expands. Breathing out. Exhale. Pull the belly button back. Inhale. Breathing in. And exhale. Again, through the nose, pulling the belly button back. Release your attention from the belly. We're going to move the hand just a few inches up so that it's covering the bottom of the rib cage. So those 2 or 3 lower ribs. And again, you can use one hand and both hands, whatever feels right for you. And we want to focus the breath on the location where our hands are. So we saw in the YouTube clip, the intercostal muscles expanding the rib cage. That's where we're going to put our focus now. So we're going to take a nice big inhale. And as we do, I want you to feel the rib cage expand. Less focus on the belly, more on bringing those ribs out, and then exhale through the nose, allowing the ribs to drop. Inhale. Rib cage expands. Exhale, release. Inhale, expand the ribs. Exhale, release. Inhale, expand the ribs. Exhale, release. One more. Inhale, expand the ribs. And exhale, release. And I encourage you to think of this as a practice. This is not going to feel natural, and that's normal. And it's going to take practice over time, but it won't take you long. The more you practice, the quicker this will become more natural and feel like you're doing it right. Okay, so we're going to release our hands from our lower ribs, and we're going to move them just below the collarbone. Again, it could be one hand or the other, or both hands. And this time when we take our deep breaths, I want you to breathe into that upper chest. So the hands that are just below the collarbones, you can feel those moving. And this one is probably going to be the one that takes the most practice. So we're going to take a nice big inhale and really fill in up at the chest and then out through the nose. You're going to feel those hands rise and lower. Inhaling again, expanding the chest. Exhale, release. Inhale, expand. And exhale, release. 2 more, breathing in and breathing out. Inhale and exhale. Release your attention. You can drop the hands. So that was phase 1. We've focused on the belly, we've focused on the ribs, we've focused on the upper chest. And now we'll move into phase 2, where we're going to put all of those things together. So we're going to place one hand or the other on the navel and one just below the collarbone. Again, it doesn't matter in which configuration you do that. And we're going to connect all of the motions into one breath. So we'll inhale into the stomach and then the ribs and then the upper chest. And then as we exhale, we'll allow the chest to deflate first and then the ribs and then the stomach. Again, it's going to take some practice. We'll do 3 to 5 breaths like this. So hand on the navel, hand on just below the collarbone. We're going to take a nice big breath in, fill the belly, fill the ribs, fill the upper chest. Exhale, allow the chest to release, the ribs to release, the belly to release. Beautiful. Inhale, blow up the belly with air. Feel the ribs expand, feel the chest expand, and then exhale, release the chest, the ribs, the belly. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the ribs, fill the chest, and exhale, release the chest, release the ribs, release the belly. We'll do one more. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the ribs, fill the chest, and exhale, release the chest, release the ribs, release the belly. Drop the hands, come back to your normal breath pattern. I am going to allow some time in between breathing techniques, so we do have some time to recover. So before I move into box breath, I invite anybody to unmute and share, ask questions, share any feedback about what that felt like, or what was easy, what was challenging. And again, I can't see anyone, so you'll have to just unmute and let me see if I can pull the chat up. Yes, I have the chat up. So if anyone has any questions. And continue to take your normal gentle breath. So hearing no questions, and I'm not seeing anything pop up in the chat. So we will move along to our box breath. You may also hear this called square breath. You may also hear it called 4-count breath. So again, if this is something that resonates with you and you want to do more research later, those are different names that you can look up when you research this. So box breath is used and taught by Navy SEALs, and it's allows them to stay calm and focused during really tense situations. And in particular, box breath will help with mental clarity, energy, focus, things like that, which makes sense when you think about what a Navy SEAL does. That's not to say that some of the other breathing techniques that we're going to work on won't do something similar. A lot of the breathing techniques are going to help reduce physical stress symptoms that you may feel in the body. You may have already felt that just practicing the one breath that we did. It can have a positive effect on your emotions and mental well-being, as I said at the beginning. And also, if you practice breathing techniques like box breaths and the 3-part breath, you may find that you have an improved reaction to future stress. So all of these breathing techniques have varying degrees of all of those benefits. So when we are looking at box breath, and it's going to become readily apparent if you haven't already read through the directions why it's called box breath. It's literally a box. Inhaling on 4, holding on a count of 4, exhaling on a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, and you just continue to repeat that square, that box. So we're going to practice that. There are variations of this. I made a note of that, and I'll come back to that after our practice. So we're going to practice 3 to 5 rounds now. So we'll take a couple of our normal breaths and jump into the cycle whenever it makes sense for your breath. So we're going to begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, release, relax, come back to your normal breath pattern. Open the eyes if you've closed the eyes. So when we practice our breathing techniques, in this particular case, since there was a count, the quickness or the slowness with which I count would make a difference in how quickly or slowly you move through the practice. So that's one variation of this. I could have gone much slower. I could have gone much faster. So those are things to keep in mind, and you will develop a speed that works for you. So when we think about the breath, we may not think about how it impacts our nervous system. So our sympathetic nervous system is our fight or flight, right? Or freeze. We're familiar with that. That is inhale activated. So when we inhale, it activates that sympathetic nervous system. Also, the right nostril is the gas pedal for the sympathetic nervous system. The reverse is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and relax, which is what we're trying to do now. That's the exhale. So those long exhales activate that parasympathetic nervous system, as does breathing through the left nostril. So as we move into deeper into these practices, particularly when we get to the alternate nostril breathing, this balance will make sense. So when we're looking at box breath, If you need that stronger parasympathetic response, that rest and relax response, a variation on box breath is, especially before you go to bed, inhale on the count of 4, hold in between for a count of 2, and exhale for a count of 6. So that's just a variation that you can try. And again, for anybody that's joined late, all of this is written down for you, so you don't have to jot this down. And I see, oh, thank you, Martha. All right, so just checking the chat. So as we move through these breathing practices, please recognize that you can make adjustments for yourself in order to make the breath practice, whichever one resonates with you, work well for you. And so I'm going to stop again, and you're welcome to unmute and share how you're feeling, or any sensations you're noticing. You can put things in the chat again. I'm not as quick to see the chat. Let me bring that back up again. So hearing no one pop up, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next breathing technique. So the next breathing technique is called 4-7-8 breath. And again, it's almost self-explanatory in that we're going to inhale for a count of 4. We're going to hold or retain the breath for a count of 7. And we're going to exhale for a count of 8. That is a long exhale. Do the best that you can. And as an alternative, if you can't quite make it all the way to 8, you can shorten it to 6, or and I try to give a very paced count, but you could make the count a little bit quicker to begin as you start to practice for yourself in order to make it through that 8 count exhale. The key here is that the exhale is twice as long as the inhale, and we're retaining or holding the breath in between for a significant amount of time. So it's a very deep rhythmic breathing technique, and it helps promote deep relaxation and sleep. The thing to notice here, and one of the changes that we're making, is we're going to be inhaling through the nose, but this time we're going to be exhaling through the mouth, and we're going to make a sound. So, and I'm going to do a quick demonstration here, not of the full breath, but at the very least of the sound. So we would be inhaling through the nose, retaining the breath, and then a very long exhale, audible exhale with our lips pursed. Again, we don't want to create any sense of tension here. So when you're holding the breath, we're not squeezing anything, we're not clenching anything. It's just a gentle holding of the breath as we move through the practice. So we're going to start by taking a nice big inhale, and then a nice exhale. And now we want to close our mouth and begin to inhale quietly through the nose for a mental count of 4. Inhaling 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale through the mouth. Whoosh. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Big inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. Whoosh. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, gentle hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, whoosh, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Release, relax. Come back to your normal breath. Again, notice how you're feeling, notice how your body feels, notice any sensations that have arisen. I'll open up the floor again for, I'm particularly interested in on this breath. That's a long exhale. I'm curious if anyone, what you thought about exhaling for that long a period of time, because it's different. If anybody wants to unmute and share their experience. Hearing no one, I'm going to move on.
I do have a question.
Please.
I'm sorry. It's Tracy. I suffer from migraines. Is this a good one to practice if you as an onset of a migraine?
I would tell you to try it.
Okay.
And I wish I had a more concrete answer. When it comes to breathing techniques, you have to find what works for you. And I would experiment a little bit when it comes to your specific body and this specific issue. You might have 10 people with migraines, and there's 10 different breathing practices that work well to help alleviate that. I think anything overall that reduces your stress level, invites that sense of calm, would be helpful. But which particular technique, I don't have that answer. I can certainly look into more of what breathing practices specifically work for migraines for most people.
Okay.
In case as she uses this one and finds it very helpful. Yes, and sometimes the reverse is true. You have a hard time inhaling on a count of 4, you do it too quickly. So it's the interesting thing about starting to work with breathing techniques, and we're breathing very intentionally, where we are in control of how the breath is going in and out. So I will mention practice over and over and over and over again. But the more you practice these, the easier they become, the quicker the benefits arise, and the protective factors will last a little bit longer and help in future situations. Make sure I didn't miss any chat. Yes, Martha, and hopefully I have that right here. you all got a handout with a list of resources. Breath, the New Science of a Lost Art by James Nestor is one of those resources, along with a video by Max Strom. And oh gosh, that's terrible. I forgot what I put in there. Oh, one other breathing technique that we probably aren't going to have time to do, but it was an important one that I wanted to make sure that everyone had access to. So you have that page of additional resources that you can utilize as you start to practice your breathing techniques throughout your day. I would say something like box breath is great before you have to maybe go into a meeting, or 4-7-8 breath, great to do before bed. You know, the 3-part breathing is just an overall sense of deep relaxation, which they all will bring to some degree. And that's where the practice comes in, and finding what works really well for you. So this next breathing technique is called alternate nostril breathing. And when I mentioned a moment ago about the right nostril kind of being the gas pedal and activating our sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight nervous system, and the left nostril is kind of the brake pedal, if you will, and it activates the parasympathetic, or that rest and relax part of our nervous system, as well as the inhale, sympathetic, exhale is the rest and relaxation. So our long exhales, that's what activates that parasympathetic, that rest and relax. So if you ever find yourself, at the very least, in an anxious situation, or you're starting to have feelings of anxiety, those long, slow exhales work well for most people. So now we come to alternate nostril breathing. So this can feel a little weird and look a little weird. So we're going to be using one hand. I'm going to use the right hand just because it's easier for me to give instructions with the fingers. You have a couple of ways to do this. You can take our peace fingers, I call them, pointer finger and middle finger, and rest them right between the eyebrows, or you can tuck them in and you have kind of this hang loose Hawaiian sort of sign. Either one works. My preference is to rest my 2 fingers in between my forehead, but try them both. So I'm going to lower them just so you can see what I'm doing now. But we're going to be alternately blocking one nostril and then the other with our fingers. I'm going to recommend that when you're blocking off the nostril, you're not blocking the whole side of the nostril, you're blocking just down low. And it's going to help keep the nostril from getting sticky and clogging up. So just blocking it down low will help alleviate some of that stickiness that we might get if we push fully on the side of the nose. So it's a low block on either side, down low. And we'll be using our thumb and our pinky finger to do those blockages. And I'm going to walk us in between. We'll do a little bit of hold in between each breath, but not a long hold. So again, find your position, fingers either on the forehead or all 3 fingers tucked in. I'm going to bring my fingers to the center of the forehead, find what feels right for you. We're going to take our right thumb and just plug up the bottom of that right nostril. We're going to take a nice big inhale through the left nostril. Hold. Take the pinky, plug up the bottom of that left nostril, and exhale out through the right nostril. A bit of a hold. Inhale through the right nostril. Block the right nostril, release the left, breathe out through the left. Inhale through the left. block off the left, exhale through the right, inhale through the right. A little bit of holding of the breath here as we switch, block off the right, and exhale through the left. Inhale through the left, block off the left. We're holding the breath just slightly here. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Block off the right. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Block off the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Block off the right. Exhale through the left. Block off the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Block off the right. Exhale through the left. And then release and relax and come back to your normal breath. That is alternate nostril breathing. One of the, that is to balance, that is to create balance between the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, between the right nostril and the left nostril, between the inhale, between the exhale. There's research to show that 15 minutes or so of alternate nostril breathing is very helpful for over time. It's not a one-time thing, but over time, 15, 20 minutes a day of alternate nostril breathing is helpful for just overall balance of hormone levels. So finding, again, a breathing practice that works of all of these, depending on what your goals are, or depending on a particular situation. I tend to do alternate nostril breathing for about 15, 20 minutes before I go to bed at night. I find that very helpful for me. Sometimes I follow that up with 3 or 4, 4, 7, 8 breaths. So I encourage everyone to practice these. And I'm going to guess for some of you, one of these has resonated for you already, and you may start right there. And so I've put my email address up here should you have any questions, but I am going to unshare so I can actually see everyone. And again, I'm going to invite you to unmute, share your experience, positive, challenging, questions in general. Please feel free. Oh, you're welcome, Kay. Thank you.
Kim, I have a comment.
Yes.
So I really appreciated in the beginning seeing the visual of, the muscles and actually seeing that in action paired with the breath. I feel like if I give people instruction for when they're strength training, I always tell them to look in a mirror, not for vanity's sake, but I think it helps make that connection, that like brain muscle connection stronger. So that was just really helpful for me to like remember what's actually happening when we're doing those breaths. So that was really helpful for me. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thank you for the comment, Emily. Because breathing is so automatic, as is a lot of muscle movement, we tend to forget we have some intentional control over that. And the mirror, I believe in this case, at least for the 3-part breath, would have been our own hands and feeling the belly expand or the ribs expand or the upper chest expand. But having that reminder that our breathing through the nose is like a muscle. We can train ourselves to breathe through our nose. We can train ourselves to take deeper, slower breaths to get more oxygen into the body and into our cells. for more energy. So thank you. I appreciate that, Emily. Any other thoughts, comments, questions? Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad this is resonating for everyone. We have about 10 minutes left. Again, I will remind you that you have the all of the steps already written out for you. So hopefully that's helpful. If you are practicing and end up having questions, you know, a week from now or a month from now, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help. And then the additional resources, I'm actually going to go look. This is terrible because I don't remember what I put on there. Oh, that's it. Dr. Andrew Will performing the 4-7-8 breaths, just a little YouTube clip of that as a reminder. And then coherent breathing or resonant breathing. I added that practice in there as well. There are a variety of apps. Some of them are meditation apps that include breathing. Some of them are breathing apps that include meditation. I've used Calm for a very long time, probably, well, since 2015, so 7 years that I've used the Calm app. But in the resources that I included, particularly for coherent breath, there are free apps that offer visual timers, you know, like a circle going in and out. And then actual numbers, and that's pace breath or my cardiac coherence. So all of that's written down for you. Certainly, if you have something that you already use, yep, use the sleep stories. Yes, same, Kay. Yep, we'll do, Barbara. Everyone's going to get the recording. I do this again May 16th from 6 to 7, I believe. I'll record that version as well. And they'll probably be somewhat different, quite honestly. And any other questions, any other thoughts before I, oh, great, Corey. I'm glad the 4-7-8 worked out and you liked it. Any other questions or comments before I let you have 8 minutes of your day back? Oh, I'm glad that there are lots of Calm users. That's awesome. Oh, and I'm always open also to, you know, a week, a month from now, if you've been trying the breathing practice, I'd love to hear feedback, how it's going. And thank you, Carla. I appreciate it. Well, I will let all of you get back to your Thursday afternoon. I hope that this practice not only has resonated with you, which I can tell by the comments that for many it has, but I hope you were able to get some sense of stress relief, some sense of calm and peace that you can carry with you through the rest of your Thursday and hopefully into your weekend. So I'm here as a resource anytime you need that support. With that, I will let you get back to your Thursday. I'll create a vibrant and fulfilling day, and I look forward to seeing you in future programming. Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.